Hey, good afternoon.
Kate McKenna from CBC. I'm wondering if you could reflect on how these tariff threats have affected federal-provincial relations in Canada.
I think the impact of the tariff situation, the whole negotiation, it's a really hard thing for Canadians. Obviously, Canadians are galvanized, and I would definitely say that it has it's brought the federal government and the provincial governments, I would say, closer together. It's really, we all see the opportunities that we have before us to make for a stronger country, and we're all pushing in that direction. So we've had some really positive meetings today and over the last couple of days, actually, and I think everyone is really united and on the same page of just really seizing the opportunities that are before us that in the past we may have looked away from, that right now we're all looking squarely at.
Hi, Premier. Mackenzie Gray with Global News. We heard Doug Ford this morning talk about the idea that there should be dollar-for-dollar retaliatory tariffs against the Americans. On the flip side, Beau Scott Moe and Danielle Smith say that we shouldn't retaliate, that the impact of tariffs on American consumers is what should push forward. What's your position? How should Canada push back?
Yeah, I think, look, there's people at the negotiating table that have more information, and they're kind of working to a strategy. What I would say is I actually have tremendous confidence in the Prime Minister and the team that is representing us as Canadians to look at all of the factors and the moving parts and come up to the best deal for Canadians. So I think it's just really important that we keep moving for what is the best possible deal for Canadians, and all the while knowing that the U.S. administration changes their thoughts on things quite frequently. So I know that it's a difficult position for our negotiating team, for our Prime Minister, but I have tremendous faith in the team that's representing us to get the best deal, and that's where my focus is.
Hello, Premier. Michael Serapia with CPAC. This is the third time the First Ministers have been able to get together since Mark Carney became Prime Minister, won the election. I'm wondering concretely, on an economic front, what has been achieved by these meetings? The challenge economically for many Canadians is immediate. What has been achieved with these meetings?
First off, isn't it great? Like these are such important relationships for Canadians, and we're all kind of binding together and spending time together to really understand the sensitivities that we have in our own areas, but also the as I talked about, the opportunities. So I think for the Prime Minister and his team, the passage of Bill C-5 is significant. For myself and other premiers, we're doing what we can in terms of the interprovincial trade barriers. So there's a lot of concrete action in just those two things, but the spill down from those two things is very significant. But the major projects, the nation building projects, however you want to term it, there's a lot of them. Certainly in Nova Scotia, I'm passionate about our wind opportunity, and I think I'm actually seeing that move at a significant pace. There's lots of I's to dot and T's to cross and technical analysis to happen, but the very first step is to have agreement that there's something there, and getting that agreement, that's something that might have taken years before, but because of the relationships that are being built, we can see where everyone stands much sooner in the process. So I think Canadians should feel proud of the way that the governments are working together, and I think Canadians should feel incredibly optimistic that their elected officials realize the need for urgency and feel that urgency. It's still government in many ways, but I will say that urgency is felt, and I'm personally, as a Canadian, incredibly optimistic about the future of this country right now.
Do you have any idea when a deal or deals and projects might actually be chosen, highlighted, and moved forward with?
Yeah, I think initially we talked about give them some things to assess over the summer. That certainly happened. There's lots of potential projects and good ones, and I think everybody is in some respects waiting for the major projects office to open. That will be open. We understand maybe by Labor Day, and there'll be capacity in there to really do analysis on them. So I think for me personally, I have in my mind that over the fall, maybe early fall, would have some good clarity on the early wins that the governments would see for our country. So it's all happening.
Mickey here with Politico. Following today's update from the Prime Minister, how realistic is it that we will get a deal by August 1st?
I haven't been focused on the date. I think, sometimes, and there was some discussion at the table today from others as well, who kind of share that the idea is get the best deal. And I would be worried that if we constrain ourselves that we have to get a deal by a certain date, that we maybe have to, maybe do some things or give up some things or give up some leverage that we might not otherwise have to if we just focus on getting the best deal. So I think it's just really important that we get the best deal for Canadians, and I'm personally not focused on the date.
And what else can the federal government be doing that they aren't?
As I said, I have great confidence in, certainly Minister LeBlanc is all in on this. A number of his cabinet colleagues are, but I just the abilities of the Prime Minister are something that I'm confident in.
Hi, Premier Houston. Olivia Spanovich, CBC News. What does the best deal look like to you? Does it involve no tariffs? Do we have to give up something else?
Well, I mean, obviously, no tariffs is great, but we're not in that world right now. You look at what the president is doing, what he's pushing forward as his agenda. So we just have to be open-minded about what that might look like. But again, there's many moving parts to that. I think the CUSMA carve-out, the CUSMA is really important to our country. So keeping that intact is really, really important, and the rest will all kind of fall into place. But.
And how much longer should we wait until we see more retaliation? How much longer are you going to give the Americans?
Well, it's not just me that makes that decision, but I think, look, we have to be conscious of the impact on retaliation on our own economy, because there is one as well. So it's finding that balance about making sure that the president understands we're an important customer of the United States. We are, and we're good friends and longstanding allies. But also that we can't just be pushed around either. So there's finding that balance between pushing back a little bit, but never losing sight of what the ultimate goal is, and that's the best possible deal under the circumstances that we face. We didn't initiate this as a country. We didn't start this. We're just having to deal with what's in front of us, and I'm actually proud of the way that it's being dealt with.
Hi, Premier. Hi, Colin DeMello from Global News. There are going to be a lot of competing projects, a lot of competing interests in front of the federal government. Did you get any clarity today in terms of how they're going to prioritize all the competing projects from the provinces?
It wasn't like everyone has the best project. I know Wind West is the best project in the energy like that, but others feel that theirs is the best. So, but I mean, this will be the major projects office will be looking at impact on national GDP. We'll be looking at the best bang for the buck for the country. So I know they'll have their criteria there that they'll assess it, and it'll be up to us as the advocates for these projects to make our case. So I know that I have some work to do and to build up my business case, and others do as well. But I think as a country, we should feel good about the opportunity that is before us, because it is very significant.
One of the things that Premier Ford had mentioned was if the 35% tariffs go into effect on August 1st, that there should be dollar-for-dollar retaliatory tariffs. I'm wondering how you feel about dollar-for-dollar retaliatory tariffs, especially since Trump has said that he would match that with a similar kind of tariffs. And what was the temperature in the room for some kind of retaliation for tariffs?
Look, I think for me, it's just having the ability to step away and have confidence that the people at the table are assessing what's the best move for our country at that time. And I don't want to second guess that, and I don't want to presuppose the outcome of that. And I think there's lots of people that feel that way too. But I have confidence in the Prime Minister and the negotiating team to get the best deal for the country under very difficult circumstances. So I'm conscious of that as well. So I don't want to presuppose what that deal looks like, but just that we have confidence that we're, as a country, being represented in the best possible way. And I feel that way right now. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Premier Eby.
Hello, everyone. Great to see you. It has been a productive set of meetings already for British Columbia. We had the opportunity to sign some agreements with Yukon, with Manitoba and Ontario about getting rid of internal trade barriers, making life a little bit more affordable for Canadians, getting Ontarians access to that high-quality British Columbia wine. Lots of great things to celebrate. Working with the Yukon to electrify that territory and help them grow their economy. Lots of great projects on the go. Had the opportunity with the Prime Minister to discuss projects of significance and importance to British Columbia, like the northwest of our province, the mining opportunities that are there. I'm very excited about the Northwest Transmission Line that will electrify that and the work that we can do together. Looking forward to that. While I was having a sidebar conversation with the Prime Minister, I took the opportunity to deliver a letter from Bailey McCourt's family. Bailey McCourt was murdered by her ex-husband in Kelowna. A horrific attack. The Prime Minister has committed on multiple occasions, which I'm grateful for, to bail reform, and Bailey McCourt's family really underlining the importance of bail reform around intimate partner violence. In my opinion, and I know an opinion shared by many Canadians, there's a special place in hell for men that murder and attack their spouses or girlfriends, and ensuring that they stay behind bars and are not released to complete a cycle of violence is a priority for us, and I'm grateful to know that priority is shared by the Prime Minister. Finally, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on the comments of the American ambassador recently appointed about his support for the President's comments that Canadians are mean and nasty because we are boycotting American liquor and refusing to travel to the U.S. while they attack our sovereignty and threaten our economy through the President. Obviously, if you're a mean and nasty Canadian for standing up for our sovereignty and our economy and our jobs, well, I think most Canadians would be proud to be considered mean and nasty. But to be blunt, Americans are our friends, our colleagues, and family members in many cases, and the remarks the ambassador delivered were delivered at a conference, the Pacific Northwest Economic Region Conference. We've worked in close partnership with those states for many, many years on flood mitigation, economic growth, the Cascadia Corridor. It's grown our economies. We've all benefited from it. It's an example of why we have no interest in being mean and nasty. We want to be in partnership with the Americans, and we need the President to understand the benefits that flow from working in cooperation. So with that, happy to take your questions and look forward to our conversation here.
Hello, Premier Eby. Michael Serapio with CPAC. Earlier today, we saw your colleagues from Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Ontario announce a memorandum of understanding to work towards energy corridors, pipelines. And in that news conference, both the premiers of Saskatchewan and Alberta talked about the northern BC coast, saying it presents the best opportunity to get oil to global markets. And they also called for, once again, the dropping of a number of regulations that includes the tanker ban off the BC coast. I'm wondering, given that this is the third time that the premiers, the first ministers have come together, whether you are now more open to dropping that ban, giving the support towards that, and exploring the possibility of a pipeline to the BC coast up north.
Well, I mean, let's look at what's happening in BC's north around energy. We have the first shipment of LNG from BC's coast. It will make a material difference in Canada's GDP, the largest private sector investment in Canadian history. The proponents are looking at a second phase right now. In terms of traditional energy projects, we also have Cedar LNG and Ksi Lisims LNG that are reaching final investment decision or are in construction. So there are major energy projects that are happening that will also benefit Alberta in BC's north. For the pipeline project that Premier Smith is a great enthusiast of, a heavy oil pipeline project, there is no project, there is no proponent, there is no private sector money involved at all that I'm aware of. When Premier Smith crosses those obvious hurdles to get a project done, then let's have those conversations. But to be blunt, we have major projects that are moving ahead, and that's where our focus is.
But would it be easier to find an investor if the BC government were open to actually letting that pipeline go to the BC northern coast?
Well, we own a heavy oil pipeline right now as Canadians that goes to the BC coast. It's the Trans Mountain Pipeline project. It's up for sale. The federal government can't sell it. The major pipeline proponents that one would expect to be participating in the north are not. And so I think there's a reason for that. I think there's other interest around investment in British Columbia and Alberta. We're supportive. If Premier Smith can cross that hurdle of identifying a proponent and an actual project, then let's have that conversation. But in the meantime, we're encouraging the federal government and for ourselves, the focus is on projects with proponents that are ready to go, that are through environmental assessment. And if we do that, we can deliver some really big projects for Canada. BC will be the economic engine, frankly, of the new economy that we're building here in Canada because of our port access to markets, the resources we have, and we're going to facilitate access for other provinces too, to get to those markets just as we always have.
Hey, Mickey with Politico here. Have you brought up the issue of the ostriches with the Prime Minister, and would you like to see him intervene in a way where they can be saved?
No, I have not brought up that issue with the Prime Minister. I understand there was a recent court decision on that. For British Columbia, we don't take our public health advice from RFK and from Dr. Oz. Bird flu is a very serious issue in British Columbia, and so it's obviously a challenging issue. They're beautiful birds, and bird flu is a massive and profoundly concerning issue for farmers in British Columbia, and I know across Canada.
Hi, Mirna Djukic for Radio-Canada. About the MOU signed with Ontario on free trade, can you tell us a little more about what concretely will change and what timelines are we working with?
Yeah, absolutely. We're working with Ontario right now on a direct-to-consumer model for BC alcohol products and Ontario alcohol products where producers can sell directly to consumers in our respective provinces. But what I would really love with Ontario, we have an agreement, a free trade agreement that works in Western Canada. It's called the New West Partnership. We can change the name if Ontario wants to come on board. But this is an agreement that's in place, has established standards, is working for provinces, allows us to maintain standards around safety for workers and other protections that are necessary while facilitating free trade. And I'll be pushing Premier Ford as part of this agreement to sign on to the New West Partnership because that would be the easiest and fastest way to facilitate free trade between our provinces and as well as Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta.
Have you breached that with Premier Ford, and what did he say?
Yes, we have raised this issue with Premier Ford and his team, and we'll continue to do so. They're not quite ready to sign on, but I hope they will be.
Isaac Cowan, Global News. I just want to ask about the MOU on the pipelines. Were you invited to sign that at any point?
No, I wasn't.
Would you have if you'd been invited to?
I don't know what it said. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks very much, everybody.